Get so lost, sometimes I'm shaking. I gave my heart away again, and I've been trapped in these distractions, wondering if it ever ends. Can I feel? Everyone I know thinks I'm happy. I've learned to smile and say I'm okay, but deep inside something's dying. I guess I've never known any other way. Am I real? I can meet you in the morning. I wanna swim in your eyes again. 'Cause all this hope, well, it's just been haunting me, and it's made everything different. I've built these walls to surround me. This poetry protects my soul. 'Cause I knew if you knew all the things that you don't know about me, well, you wouldn't love me anymore. Am I clear? But one day everyone's gonna know me. Yeah, I've resigned myself to playing the man. If I do these things to the people that I love the most, well, I just pray they'll understand. Am I feeling at all? 'Cause I can meet you in the morning. I wanna swim in your eyes again. 'Cause all this hope, well, it's just been haunting me, and it's made everything different.
Well, welcome to Local Radio. This is Ray Ray.
And this is Christy D.
And Tempo and Snow are not joining us tonight.
No, they're taking a little rest tonight. They work hard, so, you know, they're entitled to a night off.
All right, but we're about to call Brad Austin here, and we're going to get him back because last time it sounded like he was in an MRI, and we can't have that. We certainly cannot have that.
Hello.
It is Brad. Is this the famous Brad Austin?
Hi, Ray. How are you?
We're doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. It's been a long day, but it's good to talk to you guys again.
Well, we're glad to have you on again.
Hi, Chrissy.
Hello.
Yeah, the first time it sounded like you were in an MRI, and that was totally our fault, so we wanted to do this right.
Oh, well, I should have probably scheduled it when I wasn't doing an MRI. That's my bad. So, this time management isn't my strongest suit, I guess. So what's going on? What are we talking about?
It's all about you, evidently.
This is your show. You've got the show.
Right? You guys have been playing a lot of my songs lately. I really appreciate that. It's cool to get that kind of support. I'm really excited now that the album's out. People seem to really like it. And the release shows have gone well. We had one in Johnson City Wednesday night, though, and it was like a monsoon up there, and so there was not very many people there. But it was an awesome show. A great venue. We just the weather cheated us, but it happens.
Well, that's terrible. I'm sorry that it rained. Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't better weather.
yeah, we know. We were going through the hydroplaning while going through the electric.
Yeah, I heard your little tornado episode where you talked for like 20 minutes and cut out.
Yeah, I mean it was really bad out here. Around like 12:30, it was really freaking bad.
Yeah, it's been. We better get some May flowers. That's all I can say.
Well, we had a tornado watch earlier. So.
Yeah, and a storm warning too.
So.
And I go, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah, great, awesome. When
Yeah,
I moved to Texas, I thought I'd moved away from all that, but I guess it followed me.
That's all right. We're originally from Connecticut, and the snow followed us. So.
Yeah,
There you go.
You can have that back.
Nah, we sent it back to Connecticut. We told them they could keep it. That's why they got all that snow.
2 inches in Knoxville is a national disaster.
Very true.
Well, when you don't have the manpower to do things is ridiculous. I mean, we were stuck at 4.5 hours for our son one day. So.
Isn't it? Well,
At a school. But all right, this is about you. So since last time we talked, you had your release party. So how was your release party, and how was your time up in World's Fair?
well, I haven't done World Fair. That's in July. We played Market Square.
Market Square. That's right.
the outdoor Market Square Arts Fair was amazing. There was tons of people. I mean, thousands of people, and we got a really, really good response. And it was just like an acoustic trio. I just had guitar, piano, and fiddle, and people really enjoyed it. I saw tweets from all kinds of downtown business owners talking about how they could hear us playing, and they enjoyed the music, and I got a lot of hits and plays on Reverb and stuff, and sold some CDs. And then that evening at 8, we moved up to the Preservation Pub, and I had the full 6-piece band from the album, and we blew the doors off that place. It was a really good show. I'm just really lucky to have some amazing musicians that play with me, because even if I'm having an off night, they make it sound amazing.
That's fantastic.
Well, you're not a chump yourself, so.
No, you're actually the king of the show tonight.
The king of the show.
Yep.
Got a nice ring to it. So, I don't know, you guys have listened to it. What do you like on there? What do you like on the new album?
We liked the whole thing. I mean, I can't really single out a certain song. But as far as like the whole,
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of absolutely fantastic songs.
Awesome. Thank you.
well, I mean, we played a bunch of them.
Yeah.
We played whatever you gave us, we played, and we're going to continue to do that. Matter of fact,
Cool.
What we've done, not to draw the attention away from you, but what we're doing is we actually have a separate show directly for interviews, so people can find the interviews faster and everything. And we're going to have one directed for music as well.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes it a little more user-friendly.
Yeah, and it's like a tribute to like a particular artist. Like one night it might be, okay, this is Brad Austin night, and we're gonna play all Brad Austin's music. Then this night might be somebody, you know what I'm saying, to give everybody a chance to hear everybody's music.
But enough about us. So people that did not hear the last one, due to the MRI sound, that once again was our fault, and we apologize. So why don't you tell people a little backstory about you and about your life?
I've had a long and winding road to get to this point. I grew up in Texas, and I was always into music. I didn't know really what that looked like. I just thought, you started a garage band and got signed and became rock stars, and there's a lot more to it than that. When I was 19, 20 years old, I got in my first band, a band called Full Circle, and we did the Texas scene, and we played all the right shows and met a lot of big people, and I got to play with some acts that are really well known now. Back before they were really discovered, I remember Smash Mouth opened for us at one point, and we played with like the Toadies and some of those bands in that era that were really big in the Texas scene, and Blue October and stuff like that. But I wasn't really ready to handle it, and I got into drugs really heavily, particularly opiates, and it was the 90s. Everybody was doing heroin, and I got into that real bad, and just kind of lost sight of music, and it became more important to be high all the time, and I just kind of slid into that hamster wheel of the junkie lifestyle, and what resulted from that was years of heartbreak and jails and prison twice, and hospitals and overdoses and heartbreak and divorce, and I mean just every negative thing you can have I went through it in that time. And I wrote From Behind These Walls. I wrote sitting in a jail cell when I got in divorce papers, and I was just so heartbroken. That song talks about, "Can you love me, please?" It was a desperate plea, and I've carried that song around for a long time. But I titled this album that, mainly because I'd always had a heart to do that, but also because it's like a redemption. It's like I've come full circle now, and now I can tell them as, the veteran that has survived this stuff rather than as the kid trying to figure it all out. And it gives the music more of an edge and more of a, I guess, a raw kind of honesty, because, it's all looking back now. Like, I've made peace with the past, and I had a real spiritual experience in a jail cell a few years back, and I became a Christian, and which was something that is crazy, because I was about as atheist as you can get. I used to love to argue with Christians. I just thought they were the people that thought they were better than everybody, that told you what you can and can't do, that made all the moral rules of society, and they didn't understand me, and they were, hypocrites. And I learned that the church is not it's not a museum for good people. It's a hospital for broken people. And when I figured that out, and that, reading the actual Bible instead of just somebody's version or their telling of the story, I learned that, this thing is about love. This thing is about forgiveness and redemption and healing, and that Jesus was just such an amazing person, and I was very attracted to that. And when that happened, it really changed the way that I saw myself and the way that I treated others, the way that I viewed music. Instead of being exercising demons or getting up there to try to make it about me and processing my stuff, now I can go to a stage and try to have something to give, some wisdom, a story, an experience, and and with that comes purpose, and to have purpose in your life changes everything, to actually be trying to give something to the world rather than take.
Exactly. I mean, that's an actual perfect description of the church. It's a hospital for the broken. I like that.
I was about to say, that was fantastic, but I didn't want to cut you off. I'm good at cutting people off, but I'm like, let the man speak.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I'm not ashamed of my beliefs at all. I do church a bit differently. I actually work at a church as well. I lead worship at Centerpoint Church down on Broadway every Sunday morning. If you go to church there, it's me leading the band. But it's not real traditional. It's very contemporary, and it's like jam band for Jesus. I mean, we get up there and we rock out and we have a good time, and we make it about joy, and we want people to feel welcome and to come as they are. I don't see this guy Jesus, like, I've studied him a lot now, and I understand the Bible a lot more than I ever did, and it's a process, because it'll keep meeting you at every level, so I by no means have it all figured out. But now that I've studied ministry for a few years, I realize that this is a guy that he never invited anybody to church. He never went around and judged people and told them what they could and couldn't do. He went and loved them, and the people that he hung out with were the drunkards and the prostitutes and the lepers and the tax collectors and the pariahs of society. And he gave them value and worth and helped them get out of the holes they were in. And he was on the move. He was outside. He was going to them. He wasn't asking them to step across their comfort zone and come to him. He was going to them, and that's what it's about. And so even going out on the road, when I go out and play music, I don't call myself a Christian musician. I don't ever want to be that. I have no desire to sell CDs only to Christians, because that's like having a pep rally for people that are already on the team. I'm out there in bars talking to broken people and saying, yeah, I lived through this. Let me tell you about what's happened though, and how much more there is. And going to the broken people, like you don't find. I mean, there's some broken people sitting in church for sure, but there's a lot more of them sitting in a bar that just don't really have anywhere else to be or any purpose. And so they're just drowning their sorrows, and those are the people that I want to connect with. Those are the ones that I want to meet. And so going out on the road now is more like a mission trip than it is about, just promoting me. I'm actually promoting something greater than I am, and I'm doing that through my story and through my songs. But at the end of the day, it all points back to him, the one that changed my life. So.
And what I like about you is, because we've met you and everything, and you don't push, religion on people. And
no, you don't.
You actually see, Jesus how I see it.
Yep.
I'm spiritual. I don't call myself religious. I call myself spiritual and whatnot. And I'm like, well, Jesus did all these things and was in these broke areas. So why are these people not over there?
Exactly. I mean, that's how I believe too. I mean, if you're gonna, just because you have a little bit more money or you're a little more better off than somebody, who makes you better than somebody else that doesn't have anything. Someone, if you reach out to somebody that doesn't have anything, you might give them that hope that they didn't have before.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And just really quick, I knew this preacher one time, and he was actually a pastor, and he would actually come in with like a ripped jeans and like just a normal shirt, and he'd preach in back of not in an actual building but actually in a park. And believe it or not, he was more blessed than most of the preachers out there. He always had food, he always had shelter and everything. And you know how a lot of people say otherwise, you have to dress a certain way or act a certain way in order to be somewhere. And I truly believe if Jesus were walking on his face of this earth right now, he'd walk into somebody's house with a 6-pack of beer and a carton of cigarettes saying, hey, let me tell you my story.
Exactly, with possibly a ripped pair of jeans and a T-shirt.
Well, what he would have done is he would love people where they are. I mean, and the thing with the church I go to that I work at, Centerpoint, I mean, first of all, the worst thing that ever happened to the Western churches, denominations, and this country club, when the church became attractional and they were trying to give people what they wanted, programs for the kids, coffee bars, and da-da-da-da. And those things are great if a church wants to have that, but if that's where your focus is, then you're not pointed out. Jesus gave one command before he left the earth. He said, take this message to the ends of the earth and make disciples. That was his last word. That was our marching papers. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And so, like when you come to my church, I lead worship in jeans and flip-flops and T-shirts and, I mean, every once in a while I might wear a button-up or something, but I don't dress up. That's not how our pastor does it. And he's, in his 50s, and he's a missiologist, and he's got master's degrees, but that's not who he is. And he's got his shirt untucked, and he's, got a goatee, and he's up there telling people about love. I mean, it's a message of love. And I don't know that Jesus would be, carrying cartons of cigarettes and beer. I don't know if he would or not. I think that what he would be doing, though, is sitting around people that were doing that and not telling them they were wrong for it. However, the funny thing is when I did get into that, all of a sudden cigarettes and beer didn't seem as important to me. It's like, well, these are things I do to mask my feelings. These are things that I do to change the way I feel. And so I had to look at the root issue, which is, why do I need to change the way I feel? Why am I not okay? Why does relaxation have to equal intoxication? Why does, and that's my issue. I'm saying that's not necessarily for everybody, but it made me realize that I was missing something in life if my reward was to have to alter my conscience. And so instead, I tried to find ways to make myself happy through serving others. I mean, this guy spent his last hours washing other people's feet. I mean, that's a powerful example of a person that came to serve. The greatest thing you can do is serve other people. And so if I fill that hole in my life with doing things for other people, it's a natural progression. I get happier. It's weird.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Even if never made a dime from this, even though like to make money, but everybody always like to make money. The bottom line is that be able to help and reach people through stories and tell them how we feel, and at the same time reach fans.
We want to make them feel important. So when they come on here, if anything, maybe we didn't make a dime, but so what? We made those people that did come on have a good time, and they were able to enjoy themselves, and they felt important. Somebody gave a darn.
You are very welcoming. I've noticed that from day one. I think that's a great thing. And I noticed you've got some great musicians coming on. I saw like Jay Storm's an old friend of mine. That guy's awesome. You're going to love him. He's really funny. He's super talented. And we go back for years. I've known him, and we've played a lot of the same places. And he's even pulled me on stage to sing with him before. And super guy. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. I wouldn't mind running into him again, but he's a good one. And I forget who else I've seen, but there's been a few artists I've seen, and I'm like, yeah, they're on the right track. They're picking out some good.
Exactly. But now going back to you, because
hold on 1 second. I want to say one thing. I'm sorry, honey, but you know what? The way I look at it, soon enough you'll be there too. That's the way I feel. Because you are absolute fantastic artist, I
think the difference is that I used to make art because I wanted people to pay attention to me. I used to make art because I wanted notoriety, and I wanted to be noticed, and I wanted to stand out and meet girls and do all these selfish kind of things. And now I make art because I have to. An artist makes art because he has to, and an artist makes art like every day. That doesn't mean it all gets recorded, but it means that it's a continual flood of art, and it's my reaction and my response to life. Like if nobody listened to it, I would still make art because it's who I am. It's part of who I am. It's how I express myself, and so it's not about, oh man, let's tweak this to make it exactly what everybody wants so I can make $1 million off this song. It's what am I trying to say here when I sit down to write something? What is the message I'm trying to convey? What am I trying to offer the world, and that changes the perspective of it. The funny thing is I think people connect to it more then because you're genuine.
Yeah, that's what it's about. There's a thing on the streets that say real see real, and that's so true. People can see through, especially, musicians can see through fake people in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of that, and especially in the music business. There's a lot of people that are in it for the wrong reasons, and they watched a video where somebody was bawling, and they like, I want that, and so this is how I'm going to get there. I want yachts full of women and champagne and all that. And I mean, not that I wouldn't love to be on a yacht with a bunch of women, or whatever, but I'm just saying that's not the goal at the end of this thing. The end of this thing is to be heard. I mean, I have a story to tell, and I like meeting people one at a time and building a relationship, not going out to 30,000 people I don't know and having them all cheer and never meeting them. That would be no fun. I'd rather go out and hit the road and meet everybody at the end of the night and shake their hand and sign their CD and talk to them and hear a little bit of their story and weave it into my story and, actually touch their lives. Because when you go out and you're just some faceless person on the radio, then you're not real to them. But if you're somebody that they've met, you've just made a fan for life. I mean, that's somebody that knows you, that feels like they're part of your story now, and so they're going to listen to everything you ever do after that. And so a lot of it has to do with taking the time to listen to people, because everybody wants to be heard. And a lot of musicians just want to say what they have to say. They don't want to hear what the fans say and back. They don't want to actually meet them and hear about their problems in their lives, and that's a flaw. That's not right.
You're very right with that. I agree 120%. And for anyone that thinks he may be full of shit, when we first met him, we just sat back and we weren't trying to take no spotlight. It was his show.
Yep.
And he actually came up to us and he's like, "Well, you must be too loco. How you doing? I'm Brad Austin."
And we were shocked. He's the most wonderful person to meet, and his church is a bunch of loving, really nice, comforting people. You go in, you feel very comfortable at his church.
good. That's what we're shooting for.
All right. So, what would you say is your favorite, song on the new album?
Well, my favorite song ever is 80 Song. It's just very personal, and it's not the best one, I don't think. A lot of people do identify with it. I close almost every show with it. It's a great closer. But it's just, that song represents so much hope to me. When that happened, I had just gotten out of prison and been through that divorce and written from behind these walls and all that, and a buddy picked me up, and I didn't know what was next. I just knew that they'd let me out with this bus ticket and like $50, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life or where I was going to go, and I was so heartbroken, and I didn't have any hope of meeting anyone or doing anything like that, like in terms of a relationship. And we went out he took me to the beach in Galveston in Texas. You can drive out on the National Seashore, and there's no hotels or anything. It's just like a national park of beach. You can drive down the beach, and it's just desolate. It's beautiful. And he brought a big group of people, guys and girls, and we built a bonfire and played guitars and sang and roasted hot dogs. And I met this girl, Avie. Her name was Avril, kind of like Avril Lavigne, but everybody called her Avie. And she had these just spectacular eyes, and I was drawn into that immediately. And so I sing about that in the song, I Want to Swim in Your Eyes Again. But we sat up and we just talked the whole night. Like everybody else went to sleep and passed out. We sat up and we talked and we talked and we talked. And it just gave me so much hope that everything was going to be okay. And I'd love to say that it turned into this great romance. It didn't. We went our separate ways, and I moved to Tennessee. But we've stayed friends all these years. She was the first person I sent a digital copy of the album to, because she had to approve of the new version of Avie song. And that's a song about finding hope, coming out of a hopeless place and recognizing that, wow, there is still beauty, there is still hope. Don't let go. It's going to be okay. And that's kind of the theme of that song. It's going to be okay. And the whole song is broken, hopeful, gushing. It's just, and it builds up to, by the end, I'm just like, wow, I can't even contain how happy I am. And it's just a cool song. Every time I sing it, I go through all those emotions again. I love that. So
I have to say that you did ask before what was my favorite, and you know damn well, well, I shouldn't say that word, but you know well,
I'm fine with it. You don't have to watch what you say.
You know well that I hope not. It's our show.
Yeah, I'm in your house now.
Yeah, exactly. But you know well that out of all the songs, I play that the most. I love that song. I just thought it was, just coming down a road of, the dark tunnel, and there's actually a light at the end, even though you can't spot it right away.
Right. Well, that's pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that is a beautiful song. I do also love that song. And that song, does, when, you're feeling down, you listen to that song, and it does give you hope that tomorrow will be a better day, And the way I look at it is the Lord will find you the right woman one day and put her into your life when it's the right time, That's the way I believe when it's the right time for us to have certain things, He gives it to us, not to preach to the people that don't listen to Christian stuff or whatever, but that's how I believe that He gives you things in due time when He's ready.
I actually just went through a breakup about 2 weeks ago, a pretty intense relationship, and I didn't really see it coming. And that singing that song again, it's like it's taken on a whole other meaning, because I can almost frame it in that reference too. And so it's therapeutic for me too every time I sing it.
A minute ago I was like, what the heck happened to Chrissy D? She's over here preaching and whatnot. What has Brad Austin done?
It's awesome.
I have a lot of, hope and stuff and belief, because not only is Ray Ray's aunt very Christian, so she's taught me a lot about the Bible and everything, and I went to a pretty good Baptist church in Connecticut, so I kind of learned a lot between the two, but mostly his aunt.
All right, so
I can sum the whole Bible up for you in one sentence. It's not about me. Period. Life, love, everything. It's not about me. That's the sum of the whole thing. And if you go through life treating it like it's not about you, then you will succeed.
Nice.
Very true.
Nice.
What can you do for somebody else?
That's a good way to look at things. It certainly is. Now, behind these walls, I can certainly relate. I've been a time or two myself, so.
Yeah, the old bologna sandwich trip. Yeah, they love to feed you bologna in there.
No, I actually had a burger, a plain burger, and a plain coffee, which I couldn't stand, and watered down soda. So.
Wow. Well, you must have caught him on the right day. They tend to cut some corners in terms of finding the cheapest things they can feed you, and you get a lot of beans and rice and a lot of bologna, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I was only in what you call lockup, like a weekend lockup or whatever. But I've been over a dozen times, so for stupidity. But it is what it is. But I love that song because it really has meaning, and anybody who's ever been locked up in any way, shape, or form, whether in real prison, whether in lockup, whether in a detox, whether just in life in general, feeling invisible walls, it just really relates to the person.
Right. Yeah, and that's the message of the song. It's not just about a jail cell. It's about these walls that we build. I mean, we put ourselves behind walls. We do that. We're afraid to let people in because the world is a mean place, and people can hurt you if you let it in. And so that's kind of the point of it, is that album, the whole theme of it is kind of like throwing out that SOS bottle, a message in a bottle, and throwing it over the wall and saying, hey, we're back here, but there's still hope. So it's kind of what it's about, is breaking out of them.
Exactly, and it makes you realize that, you got to have faith in the world, and you've got to, let people in. If you don't, you'll never know what you have or what you could have had, Yeah.
So is there a song on the album that at first you're like, I don't know if this, if I want to play this, and then you just grown to love it?
Yes. Something Different, the fourth song, is one of my favorites now. When I first wrote it, I wasn't real sure about it, and it was about a girl that I kind of had an infatuation with, and nothing came of it, and she told me that, it just doesn't work because we were friends. It doesn't work when I date friends. So the song talks about, what if I was different, But I was kind of like, this is kind of a Hallmark card. I don't know how I feel. And then we got into recording it, and it just got this real kind of darker, edgy feel to it. And I was like, man, this has got some potential. But as we've played it out and I see the response, and it just kind of rocks live, and I'm like, man, this song jams. And all of a sudden now I'm looking forward to it on the set list, where I used to be like, oh, we got to play that now. And it's not like that anymore. I really look forward to that song, and it's people seem to really dig that one. It's got a cool little beat to it. So
another song I liked a lot was I Am a Miracle. Can you explain the backstory of that?
Yeah, I Am a Miracle that's taken on a life of its own. That song is pretty much my testimony in a song. That's the one kind of Christian song on the album. I work also here in Knoxville with a prison ministry, Focused Prison Ministries, and I do public relations, and then I go into jails and stuff. And pretty soon I'll be going out here to the prison and teaching a class to the inmates, a Bible class at Morgan County Prison. And it offers them so much hope to see somebody come back in and say, look, I succeeded, you can too. And we had a fundraising banquet last year for Focus. And they're like, okay, we want you to come up with a theme song. And I had nothing, a writer's block. And like the day of, I wrote it on an envelope and a napkin. And showed up and just threw the envelope on a music stand and played it. And somebody YouTube recorded it, my friend Scott Parker, and put it on YouTube. And next thing you know, it's got 500 hits. And I'm like, man, this is a special song. And so that picture of me singing it for the first time, you can find it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And I was still learning it. And it just evolved. So when it came time to make the record, like all of my friends, particularly church friends, like you've got to put that song. And I sell more CDs based on that song than any other. Like even people's grandmas at church will buy the CD just for that song, because I think people connect with that. I mean, it talks about literally being in chains and giving my innocence away, and then light flooding in and washing the tombstones out of my eyes. I mean, a transformation. And so I am a miracle. And the cool thing is that because of that, I meet so many other miracles. People hear that song and then they want to tell you about their miracle experience and how they used to be and what they're like. And it starts so many awesome conversations. I've had so many people hear that song and then let me tell you my miracle story. And it's become its own thing. That song has like its own little cult following. So
it's like your theme song.
I guess in a way, it's become that. Yeah, it's the story of Brad for sure. But the cool thing is it's transcended that and become other people's theme songs. We actually sang it in church last Sunday. We did a service, like a talk show, and we had like 4 or 5 people that had addictions or that had been in jail or whatever get up, and we interviewed them. I was one of them, and our pastor interviewed them like they were on a talk show, and then we all sang "I'm a Miracle" at the end, and it was a big hit. And that song has got its own life. Like, I mean, they could play that on Christian radio or on secular radio. It kind of fits everywhere. So.
Yeah, I like that song, I Am a Miracle. It made me think of Jesus. That's who I was thinking of as I was listening to it, because I was thinking of him walking around the earth and going to all these different like people's houses that were poor and everything else, and the drug addicts, like you had said, and everything. That's what the song made me think of. Him turning all these people that were doing drugs or drinking or whatever they were doing, and him transforming them to help them, what I'm saying?
Yeah. And anybody that's been transformed from something is a miracle. I mean, that's all it is. If it's something that you couldn't have accomplished in your own power, then you're a miracle, period. And it doesn't have to be, as extreme as mine. It could be I beat cancer or I got out of debt or I, got away from that abusive relationship or whatever it is. I couldn't do that on my own power. Divine things happened and people stepped in and helped and it was miraculous. I'm a miracle, and so I encourage people, like when I do it live and I close the song, I'll sing, and I am a miracle and you are a miracle and you are a miracle and you are a miracle, and I'll point out people in the audience and I like seeing them light up and realizing that, yeah, they are, we made it, we're here. And we could have, all of us, some of the stupid things we've done could have ended up in much worse circumstances, and we didn't. We made it. We're miracles. So if you've ever survived anything, you're a miracle.
Well, being a real musician and everything, what do you think of people like doing all their songs like on an auto tune? I can't stand it personally. I think it just like kills the whole, musicianship and everything. And I'm not into that. I mean, when you do an album, you do a little bit of pitch correction, but if you're any good, it's not too much. I mean, but auto-tune's a whole different category. And like that one guy, T-Pain or whatever, made a career out of it. And that's kind of ridiculous. Like, he ought to just have that thing installed in his throat so he could just talk like that all the time, because I wouldn't know what to do if I walked up and met him and he was just like, hi. I'd be like, what? Really? That's what you sound like? But I mean, on the plus side, it's kept Britney Spears in a career for years now. So, I mean, there's that. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of it either. I think that I applaud anybody trying to make music, but I just don't see anybody being really moved and going, man, you know what this needs is some auto-tune. That's what's really going to express my heart in this song. I don't see that being a vehicle to creativity. I see it being more of a opportunity for people to pretend. Well, I mean, I guess the advantage of it is, the add background singers and whatnot, and that's cool if you're like doing like hip hop or something of that form. But if you're actually, going out and doing concerts, I just think it's just a slap in the face to any real musician. But anyway, So tell us your, groundbreaking song on the album.
Groundbreaking, huh? I don't know what. I don't think it's been out long enough yet to say what the groundbreaker is. I think Undeniable is the one that got the record made because the demos of that was just so popular, and that's what created a little bit of a buzz. But we actually kind of slowed it down and made it more of a sweet little, almost Americana song on the album with the fiddle and the mandolin, and it's a little bit smoother and groovier than it was before. But I wouldn't say that's groundbreaking. It definitely got some attention. I mean, right now I guess I am a miracle because it's getting all the attention. Like everybody, like I haven't sold a lot of CDs yet, but I sold a fair amount, and that's the one that I hear the most comments about. I guess because I had to buy an extra copy for my mom so she could hear that song. My sister's going through cancer, she had to hear that song. So that's the one right now that's got the buzz. I think there's a few that have potential. I think Take It or Leave It's got a good feel to it, where it's probably got maybe some radio friendliness. And Cleopatra's Smile, I love that song, and I really enjoy playing it. And I think it's definitely got some pop.
All right, so what's the backstory behind Cleopatra's Smile?
There's another girl, and that one I just couldn't figure her out. I was just so attracted to this girl, and I was chasing her kind of hard, and she was playing more than hard to get. Like we'd hang out and it'd be like incredible, and I wouldn't hear from her. And she was a good girl, and we eventually did date briefly, but it just wasn't. I don't know. The build-up was too much, I guess. It didn't end up being quite what I thought it would be. But I was just trying to figure out what made her tick and how to figure out the ingredients to her smile and how to make that happen more often. And because she wasn't just a real bubbly, happy person, like she was carrying around some, hurt and things. And so when I could make her smile, I felt like I'd won a prize or something. And so that's kind of what the song talks about. And then it also, but it talks about I'm too old for fairy tales. I'm learning that's just as well out here on my hands and knees trying to get some forgiveness. I'm chasing these dreams around, and I've watched you melt away in crowds. And none of that defines me now, does it? And, it's more like a conversation. I'm having a conversation, saying all the things I wanted to say to this person. And then the little line, Shades of Gravity, that was the band that I was in 6-7 years ago that was probably the most well-known. And the lead guitarist of that band, J.P. Parsons, played on this album as well. And he's an amazing songwriter, singer on his own. He's got an incredible career going up in Bristol, Virginia, and he's phenomenal. But he also comes and plays my shows with me. And so when we got back together, we rehashed Cleopatra, and we're like, there's a line in there, I've been out here selling these little shades of gravity, and that's just a little reference to that band and that time. So it says, I'd write you the perfect line, but my words still tear and strain to rhyme. And it's just me trying to figure out how to get through to this girl. What made her tick.
So as far as your songs, have you reached the point? And I understand that around your circle of friends, you're not going to, because it's not about you. But with just the average person, have you reached the point where somebody has said, "Wow, man, your song is really impacting my life," or teaching me something?
Yes, yeah, I do. Those are the best, and that really. 1,000 people can walk up to you after a show and say, "Man, great show, great show, great show," and you appreciate that every time. But then when somebody comes up and says, "Oh, that one line that spoke to me," and they say it back to you, and you can tell they were listening, like they applied it. And that one takes the day every time. I'm like, oh, here's somebody that gets it, and I love that. And yeah, that does happen. I've had some random people walk up at some of the shows recently, and they'll like stuff. I've made a few probably lifelong fans now out of conversations that have come out of a lyric, and I love that. I mean, that's what it's about. That's why I do this. Like, that's when I'm like, yes, finally, there's another one. That's a convert, and those are the moments that you do it for. Is when somebody comes up and tells you those things.
Okay, do you see it easier now than when you started, as far as musically wise, and how to get the crowd more focused into what you're doing?
Um, I'm more comfortable on stage. I love being on stage. I think that now the thing is versus when I first started out, is everybody's on their cell phones. Everybody's, tweeting and taking pictures and selfies and da 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 da. And so you have to really get their attention to hold an audience. Our entire culture's attention span has shrunk tremendously. And so, they'll be bobbing, playing on Facebook on their phone and look up and nod for a couple of notes, and then they're back into their phones. And, that's kind of weird as an artist, because I'm always looking for that eye contact, for that, who's the person who can I connect with in this audience? And there always is someone, but they're not as distinguishable as they used to be, I guess.
I agree there. Technology is good, but it's like killed a lot of different things as well, and it's actually made people from wanting to talk to each other to wanting to text each other, which is good, but it's really bad as well.
How are you going to text somebody that's sitting right next to you? That's just ridiculous. That's why these kids have no.
The music's too loud. Can y'all turn down? We're trying to talk. And especially what I do, I have different kind of versions. I'm a storyteller. At the essence of this thing is me sitting on a stool with an acoustic guitar telling you a story. And there are nights, and I love those nights when that's what I get, an audience that hangs on every word, and it's a listening room. And, like the place we played in Johnson City the other night, they tell you, shh, when you walk in this other room where the music is, listen. And I love that. And, but then there's also like the party atmosphere, the pub, for instance. You got the full band cranking, and then it's my job just to kick it up a notch and keep them entertained and get them dancing and get them moving around. And so we rework the songs. Like, I don't ever want to get up and play it note for note exactly like it is on the album. That's no fun. Like, why? You can just go sit in your car and listen to that. Why would you even come? I love reworking the songs. We'll jazz up Undeniable and throw some long solos in it, or we'll, extend Avi's song, and I might bust out some freestyle poetry over it or whatever. And so we change it up live, and I throw in covers, and I love covering other people's music, not like let's do AC/DC Highway to Hell that everybody else does, but more I like finding obscure songs that people are like, is that a cover? What? Have I heard that before? Is that, and then making them my own. Or taking a classic U2 song or a Bob Marley song and making it my own, not trying to do Bob Marley, instead doing it the Brad Austin way. And people identify with that, and it gets their attention, and they love songs that they can sing along with. So it's always fun to mix in some cool covers that I don't ever want to be in a cover band. But if I do a cover, the ground rules are we have to do it different than the original. Like I don't want to be some karaoke artist out there redoing like a tribute band. I have no desire to do that. But I think the ultimate tribute you can pay an artist is to love their song so much that you make it your own.
Exactly, I agree. And, when I listen to your songs, I think to myself, wow, I would love to have, Brad Austin sitting around just, singing, telling his stories to us, because it's just so interesting, the stories you have to tell in these songs.
Well, and I do that live. I spend a lot of time in between songs talking about what I'm about to sing you, because I think point of reference makes a big difference. If you tell somebody this is the story behind the song and then you sing it, then they feel like they're a part of it. It's not just some words. Like they're hearing it and they're like, oh, okay, that's what he means by that. Oh, okay. And that's how you get it. And so I consider myself a storyteller, and that's what I do. I get up on stage and I share my story, and I do it in words, and I do it in song, and I do it in the energy of the room. But I want people to leave my show feeling like they have an understanding of who I am, not just some person in the corner belting out music.
I have a question for you. Have you ever had like that one person, because you know how some people are just stubborn, that asked you what your song was about, and you told them what your song was about, and they turned around and they said, no, I think it's about this, and you just...
Oh yeah, never failed. Yeah, there's one in every bar. And Yeah, and they're easy to spot. You just kind of have to laugh it off. You're like, okay, well, the thing is how can I begrudge them that? Because it may mean something completely different to them. Once I put it out in the world, I mean, I own the rights to it, but I don't own it. I mean, it becomes whatever it is to them. You know, when I listen to, you know, A Day in the Life by the Beatles, I have no idea what John Lennon was thinking when he wrote that, but I know what it means to me, and I know what it represents in my life and the things that helped me get through. So that's what it means. So I can't really say they're wrong, you know?
Exactly. Not only that, but if you think about it, it's almost like everybody can listen. You could have a room full of 100 people, and they could all hear Avery's song, let's say, for instance, and each person will see it in their own way, what they feel the song's about to them, you know? Everybody has
related to their
interpretation.
Yeah, they're related to their experiences in their life, and make it their own. And that's what I want them to do. That's my gift. I'm giving them the gift of this song to do with what they need to do. You know, whatever it is, whatever it gets them through. And I may not even meet them. They may just come in and hear that song, and it impacts them in some way, and I'll never know about it. But that's still a success because they go out of there applying it. So I can't really begrudge anybody trying to put their own spin on it. But yeah, there is always some people that are kind of obnoxious about that, and you know. Those people are funny though. They're just they are where they are. It takes all kinds.
What I love is when we do these interviews, when you actually can tell your story and everything. I think that really brings a personality out on some and really gives you the advantage or gives the artist the advantage because in this digital age, which I'm sure you agree that it is gone digital. You know, it's harder and harder to sell albums and singles and everything, you know, physically anymore. And when you have a backstory behind it and people can know, well, hey, this person, you know, I can relate to where they're coming from or I can understand more. I think that really, you know, gives you the edge versus, you know, somebody that's like, all right, yeah, buy my CD. You can get it downloaded.
Yeah, it makes all the difference, yeah. It's a connection. It's all about connecting, like I said. That's why I like to meet people. I mean, I'd love to sell some CDs online. I don't even think I've sold one online yet. You can buy them at bandcamp.com. I don't even think I've sold one. Every one I've sold, I've handed to the person I sold it to and shook their hand, and sometimes I sign it or whatever if they ask me to. But, you know, it's a connection. Like, we have bonded over this thing, you know. And I don't even understand really how to sell stuff. I mean, I don't know how people market to sell online like that because that's not how I'm wired, I guess. I'm more of a person to person kind of promoter, I guess. I'd rather shake your hand and meet you and you know, hear what you have to say.
So how awesome does it feel when somebody asks you to autograph their your CD, not their CD, but your CD? Well, it may be theirs because of, you know, their interpretation of your CD. But yeah, exactly. They just bought it. But
it never gets old. It's humbling. I mean, it really is because I know that first of all, I know how I have felt when I've asked people that I look up to or that I enjoy for their autographs, and I always feel like I'm going to look like a doofus. And so I know that it takes a little bit of nerve to do that, and so I try to, you know, as humbly as possible, let them know that I appreciate it, that's an honor for me to be able to do that, and ask them their name and write that in there, and you know, like leave them something personal about what we just talked about or whatever, instead of just signing Brad Austin. You know, oh, Jimmy, okay, I hope your mom feels better. I'm praying for you, brother, Brad Austin, you know, or whatever. And that way they recognize that I'm hearing them too. It's not just like, here's my signature, whatever, you know. I want them to know that it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me when people buy my album. I mean, that, you know, that it's tough times out there, and there's a lot of competition. People, you can only maybe afford to have 40 CDs in your car or whatever. And if you choose to make one of them mine, that's a privilege. And I don't take that for granted.
Exactly. That's what it's about. I'll tell you, when, you know, to have an artist, you know, sign a CD, especially it's when you can connect to somebody, it really means the world. It's like when we had Year of October and they, you know, signed a CD for it. It really, mean the world to it, even because they were spending their time to come out and do the interview over here, and they didn't have to. Just like when you're on stage, you don't have to for these people, but you choose to. And because you choose to, people just have a new respect for you.
Right. Well, I hope so. I mean, and those are the people that come back. It's just like, I mean, it's customer service is what we do. It's just like in a restaurant or in a grocery store. Like, you have to, the way you treat the people that are buying your music has a lot to do with whether they're going to buy it again. And, I plan to make more albums. And I like to think that the people that got this one that I met, that they'll want that one too, because that, they feel like we're linked somehow now. So you're building relationships is what you're doing. And then when you go back and, like we play Johnson City, when I go back in a month or two and play Johnson City again, people that were at this past show will come back because they're like, man, I'm going to go see that guy again. I want to go catch up and tell him what's happened and whatever we talked about, I'm going to tell him what happened, and and then you're out on the road and you're running into your friends. You start having friends everywhere, and it's just a cool feeling to go back somewhere and somebody you met last time is there to see you, and they brought 3 buddies with them because they're like, come on, you got to meet this guy. I told you about this guy. You got to, that's such a compliment. That means so much to me when people are willing to not only come back but bring their friends with them. That makes you feel really good.
So before we end this, do you have any like wisdom to somebody, trying to make it in the music industry, or just someone in general that's going through, a difficulty life, where you have something that you can, say, personally, some kind of words of wisdom?
Well, I mean, the easiest one I can tell somebody in the struggle is, somebody told me this, and it's so simple, but it's not really. And what he told me was, when you're in a hole, stop digging. And what that means is not only just stop making it worse. Like, it may not get better today, but what you can do is make this the bottom. This is the floor you choose to get off the elevator. And then you can work on getting out of the hole. But the most important part is quit digging the hole. And as for new musicians, I mean, the thing I can say is, it's so cliche, but it's so true. Be yourself. Don't be the person you see on American Idol. Don't be, Nickelback. Don't be whoever it is that you idolize on the radio. Don't be them. Like, that, they're already doing that. Like, you have a voice, you have a message, you have a purpose. Do that. People recognize that. And so, like, especially young kids coming up that want to, like, sound just like their favorite bands and play the same guitars as their hero and da-da-da-da. I mean, some of that's okay, but it's kind of like when I see a player come in the NBA and they all want to wear Michael Jordan's number. Like, when LeBron changed from Michael Jordan's number to his own number, that's when I realized he'd come into his own. Because he's like, man, I'm doing this. I'm not trying to be Michael Jordan anymore. I'm LeBron James, and I'm the best basketball player on the planet. Like, he took ownership. And so I love that. I love seeing people reach that stage when they realize, I'm not trying to be somebody else anymore. I'm going to be me, because that's good enough. And that's the best advice I can give somebody. It's just do you. Somebody's going to appreciate that. You have value,
That's very, heartwarming and everything, because that is honest. Everybody tries to be like, everybody else. And, especially those in the music industry or any other industry, be like, all right, well, we already have one of them. What do we need you for?
Yeah, exactly. The hardest question you can ask a musician is, so who do you sound like? And I'm like, I don't know what to say. And I have a few superficial answers that I'll throw out there, but, the people I respect, but I don't know sometimes I'll say Dave Matthews or Counting Crows or whatever, and I love those bands, but I don't sound exactly like either one of them. And I have my own style. And it's really hard, and that's the question you get asked the most, too. Oh, you're in a band? What kind of music do y'all play? And it's like, I never know really how to answer that effectively. So I just try to tell them something general, because I don't know, the kind that I decided to write this morning when I woke up, all these songs are different. They all have different feels. They're like my kids, and they all have different personalities. And Some of them are happy, and some of them are sad, and some of them are upbeat, some of them are slow, and some of them are, but they're all mine, and I love them all. And I don't know. I don't see how anybody can listen to the first 30 seconds of a CD and decide how to classify an artist, because 3 songs from there, they may change drastically. And I think that our culture, though, we do sound bites. It's like, oh, I've heard of this band, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go check them out. And I log in and I listen to it for a couple seconds, and I'm like, yeah, that's all right. And then I may not ever listen to them again. I've caught myself doing that. And I'm thinking, man, you just sold yourself short. You have no idea what these people do. You just judged them on a 30-second sound clip and tried to generalize who you think they sound like. And those are the things I don't want people to do to me. So I try to be a good listener when somebody gives me their art, or because one of the other things about starting to get into the music business and kind of start to make your way a bit is up-and-coming artists will come up to you and be like, hey, man, check out our demo. Hey, check out that. And I try to make a point to listen to that stuff. Like, even if I don't like it initially, I'll still drive around and let it play through, because I feel like, well, they thought enough of me to want my opinion on this. I should at least give them enough respect to listen to it. And so I try to do that, and and give them some appropriate feedback. So.
Exactly. Not only that, but you know what? You might listen to maybe the first couple songs and not care for maybe the first couple songs, but then you may listen to the next couple songs and absolutely love one of those songs, or one of those songs might touch you and say, hey, I remember going through that, or hey, I can relate to that.
And then when they say, so what did you think? Well, that's song number 4. That's the direction you need to take, because it got my attention. And that's what I'll tell them. And, it's good advice then.
So do you have any songs, I said we're going to let you go, but I'm going to ask you another real quick question. Do you have any songs that really stuck to your head, like inside, like lyrics that you can think of off the top that till this day really get to you?
Well, I've got one that I'm working on right now that I played it the first time at the Willow Tree the other night, and it's still not finished, but I'm really infatuated with it right now, and it's, of course, not been recorded, but I can't wait to see what happens with it. But 80 Song was like that. That song haunted me until I wrote it. I mean, I was just, because I didn't write it like that day. I sat on it for a couple of months, and I just kept walking around with this tune in my head, and that I want to swim in your eyes again, and I can meet you in the morning, I've got to swim in your eyes again. And that's all I had, but I'd be humming, and I just, like there's something there. And there's this one chord change in that song that every musician I know is always like, wow, I didn't see that coming. And that one chord change made the song. And as soon as that happened, it was like it all came together. But it took a while to get to that point. And so that one is definitely one that's still to this day. I mean, that song's almost 13 years old, and it still is as relevant and as heart-wrenching to me as the day I wrote it. And I think that's one. Awakening, the first song, is the funk song. And it's not really so much an awesome message as it's just a fun groove. We jam that out too, like live.
We're going to see real quick if we can get them
back.
If we can get them back. If we can't, well, it was a pleasure, having them on the show and everything, and they actually have somebody on twice. I mean, those that want to and can deal with the MRI, you can listen to the, other, interview we did with them as well.
Yes, he's an absolute fantastic person, and, we thoroughly enjoy having him on the show, as well as all our other artists that come on.
All right, we're going to try one last time, and if we don't...
Yeah.
Oh, wait. All right, there we go. We got you back.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know what happened, but I was just talking and it cut off. But yeah, that's it. Awakening in 80 Songs, to answer your question. So.
All right. I think I worded it wrong. I was talking about like other people's music. Do you have like a line or anything?
Lines? Well, Bob Dylan is still like my hero. That guy's just the king of the line. I love, right now I'm getting back into Smashing Pumpkins, which is random. I heard it in a record store the other day, and I went back and played all the old Smashing Pumpkins records. So I've been driving around listening to that all week. There's some hip-hop I love. I love the early Jay-Z stuff. I love, let's see, Bob Marley's got several lines that jump out at me. Sublime, Blind Melon was such an underrated, amazing band, and
I
they
agree.
have several songs that really speak to me. The song "Suit" is just amazing. What an amazing piece of art! And he wrote that about Kurt Cobain's suicide and talking about pulling the trigger and making it all go away. And that song is intense. And Counting Crows is like my favorite band, and Adam Duritz is just such a poet. And that guy's songs, I mean, he's got so many lines that speak to my heart. I couldn't even begin to name them all. So
I agree with you on Smashing Pumpkins. And Bob Dylan, actually, I started to listen to him in about the 6th grade. My teacher was like crazy over Bob Dylan. He loved Bob Dylan, and I remember him playing it for his first time. And I'm like, what kind of music's this? And then as we listened to it a few more minutes, I'm like, wow, this is cool. And, being
it's
so
what
young.
he has to say. It's what he has to say that's so phenomenal. I mean, it's just, this guy's really talking about stuff.
Exactly. I mean, you feel like he's sitting in the room with you, and he's playing the guitar and he's singing and he's telling you a story. And I just thought that was really cool. I mean, sometimes our teacher actually did bring in a guitar, and he actually did sing, and he would do some of his music, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Like what I was trying to say is, like, for example, there's this group called Stained or Aaron Lewis, and he's got this one song where it says, if you believe you have a problem, you are the problem. If you believe you solved the problem, you've solved the problem. That just really, sticks to me, and that's why I was wondering if you had like that.
Some lines like that. Yeah, there's a few. The classic Led Zeppelin, "Stairway to Heaven." There are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. That's one. There is U2 has a line. It says, "I can't change the world, but I can change the world in me." I love that. There's several Dave Matthews songs that have lines that jump out at me. The Beatles, "In the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make." I mean, there's a lot of lines like that stick out for sure.
All right. Well, we know that it's late and everything, and we appreciate you coming on once again. Why don't you send out some plugs, like where people can find your YouTube and how they can get a hold of your songs, like where is your Bandcamp thing and everything? Maybe you'll get some digital downloads.
That'd be awesome. Facebook.com/Brad Austin Music. That's my music page. It links to stuff. If you go to Bandcamp.com and you just go to artist search and you put in Brad Austin, my album pops up. You can buy it. I think it's only $8 on there because you have to give them a discount. And so it's a digital download for $8. You can't really get it a better deal than that. It's not quite on iTunes yet. It should be really soon. We had some snafus with that. But I'd say in the next week or two, I'll be up and running on iTunes as well. YouTube, it's the Brad Austin channel. I can't remember what the actual link is, but I know if you go to YouTube and search my name, it pops up. Like, I have my own channel, and it's videos. There's some videos of me playing on the Blue Plate Special here in Knoxville, which I'm actually doing. That's a radio show they do live on WDVX every day at noon, and it's a live performance. They always have two bands, and it's world famous. All kinds of famous people have played it. And I'm playing there again on May 21st, live on the radio on the Blue Plate. And so I'll put videos from that show as well. And the original I Am a Miracle at that banquet is on there. So if you go on there, you can see that. I was still reading it off the envelope I wrote it on. But other than that, and Reverb Nation, of course, I get most of my plays there. You go to Reverb Nation, Brad Austin, and I pop up. I think I'm in the top 5 in Knoxville songwriters. I think I'm 2 or 3 right now. And they have a chart, and so I should pop up on the first page near the top, and you just click on the link, and I have several songs on there you can listen to. There's a couple older demos you can download for free, and then you can buy individual song downloads, I think, for $1. But you can stream them for free, and if you want to buy it for your MP3 or whatever, I think they're $1. So that helps out a starving local artist. So don't hesitate to spend your bucks, please.
All right. Well, Brad Austin, it was a pleasure. And once again, there is another interview. If you can stand the MRI, that's a phenomenal interview as well. We should have caught you in the doctor's office. We do apologize.
That's all right. That's at least it wasn't the proctologist. Anyway, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. And have a good night. Be blessed.
Well, we'll catch up with you, during the summertime. We'll bring you back probably after summertime, and here maybe you'll have some stories to share with about fans that told you things or whatever that weren't too personal anyway.
I'll be glad to. Sure. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
You take care. All right. Well, that was Brad Austin, and he's a spectacular artist. My buddy said stop using the word phenomenal, so spectacular. How about that?
There you go.
And whatnot, and we're just glad, that he wanted to come back.
Oh yeah, we were very excited to have him back because he's absolutely a wonderful guy. We enjoy having him on, and all our other artists also.
Exactly. If people want to do 3-4 freaking, interviews and have different things, that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to take away from all the other great bands that want to, do it. But if we got time, we'll do it.
We always try to make time for everybody, and make everybody feel important. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, exactly. Because we matter because you matter. And that's what he was saying, too.
Yep.
It's not about us.
No, it's not. And he does when you go to his concerts or you listen to him in a church or wherever you listen to him, he does. He makes you feel welcome. He makes you feel special. And that's what makes Brad Austin such a wonderful, artist to go listen to,
Exactly. And for those that listen afterwards, you can hear it. I'm going to post it both on the actual link as well as the interview link and throw a few songs up there. I'm sure you don't mind, and everything. And please support your local artist.
Exactly.
We're going to start saying this, I don't care if it's an artist in a different state. If it's your local artist, if you're listening from Connecticut and it's your local artist, support them. And if it's not your local artist, the fact that it's an indie band and it's not making all this, extra cash, support them.
Yeah, you know what? You should support the artist, whether it's artists from your town, artists from your state, artists from another state. Support them because they still deserve their support. They work hard. They work their butts off, to try to make it something, And, when you support them, you are helping that artist out, and you should, All
right, well, we're done with this interview. Maybe we'll come back with the show tonight. I don't think we will, but there's a possibility we could. But anyway, this is Two Local Radio. This is Ray Ray.
And this is Chrissy D. God bless.
And for Teppo out there,
piss on you.
No, not piss on you.
No, that's what he always says. He'll know that was why I said that.
For all the soldiers out there, we support you.
Yes, we do. We salute you.
Those in the USA, anyway. I mean, worldwide, but mainly in the USA.
Have a good night.
See ya. Wouldn't want to be a. God bless.
God bless.
We're out.
Looking back, I guess it all faded to gray. The better part of me that you let get away. And I guess I'd tell you, what would I say? I guess forever is more than I can comprehend today. 'Cause I can feel your body when you start to rise. Smell the air, come on, can we share the sky? and feathers since you went away. Tiny little rainbows, these memories haunt me today. And I guess I'd tell you, oh, what would I say? I guess forever, it meant nothing anyway, right? 'Cause I can feel your body when you start to ride. Smell the air, come on, can we share the sky? You and I, we've got to find something real. From behind these walls, do you think you can love me? Please.